somber and stunned mood in parts of Russia as people pay their respects to leading opposition critic Alexei Navalny. This scene in St. Petersburg is being replicated in other parts of the country, with people laying flowers and makeshift memorials. Police in St. Petersburg have detained a number of protesters paying tribute. Now, earlier today, prison services announced Vladimir Putin's fiercest critic is dead. The U.S. and much of the international community is blaming Putin's government. My next guest worked on Navalny's political campaign when he was only 19 years old. Egor Cherniuk is a former regional campaign manager for Alexei Navalny. He was forced to flee Russia in 2018 due to his political work. He joins me this evening from Philadelphia. Egor, thank you for being here. First off, what was your reaction when you found out that Alexei Navalny was dead?
Good evening, Travis. Good evening, everybody who's watching it. I'm glad to be here. My reaction was this morning I received a message online that Alexei Navalny was murdered, and I mean, it'd still probably take me months, if not years, to fully process what has just happened. But I think like the easiest way to describe it would be a great sense of loss and potentially a loss of hope in the future. And we can talk a lot about that if you want to. It's still, I to be honest with you, I don't know. Yeah, I just like it's just so much, and I'm still. I don't think I fully processed the loss of our great leader.
Yeah, you're still processing, clearly. Do you think that there is a hope for free and fair elections in Russia?
I mean, it's clear that in the near future, as long as Vladimir Putin and his cronies are in power, political change, democratic change in Russia will remain impossible. And given the death of Alexei Navalny, to be honest with you, I don't know when truly fair elections will be held in my home country.
You were only in high school when you became politically involved. When did you learn about Alexei Navalny, and what did he mean to you at that time?
Yeah, Travis, it's a really interesting question because I think I represent a large swath of Russian politically minded young people. And to be honest with you, I remember thinking about Alexei Navalny and like learning about his political activities pretty much my entire conscious life. And I think that what's really significant about his work is that a lot of politically minded, future-thinking Russians born in the 90s and early 2000s grew up with his political and anti-corruption agenda. And in a sense, his death is with his death, we've lost pieces of ourselves as well.
How is that void filled now, or can it be?
It's like I've been in the United States for 6 years, and unfortunately, I've grown apart grown distant from the political process back home, partly because I, along with a lot of Russian people who had to flee the country due to prosecution and having different views of our country's future, we kind of thought that Navalny's invincibility and his courage were an excuse for us to kind of live our lives and, go about our like daily business without thinking much about the fate of our nation. But now this responsibility, it goes back to us collectively. We have to now it's upon our shoulders to decide what to do with Russia, what to do with Vladimir Putin and millions of people who live in the country who are essentially imprisoned by the current regime.
After you left high school, not long later, you became a manager for his political campaign locally. Before long, that race, I understand, it became quite dangerous. Tell me about the threats that you faced being part of that campaign.
Yeah, ironically enough, I was convinced that our office in Kaliningrad, the westernmost region in Russia, would not face any threats or a lot of threats from the local government. And and police because we are more liberal and more, just like due to our sheer proximity to Western countries. But it turned out to be the opposite. The FSB, KGB's successor, actually treats Kaliningrad as strategically important region due to us being sandwiched between two NATO nations. So pretty much near constant pressure on me, my coworkers, and my family members had started from the day one I opened the office in Kaliningrad.
And you,
including people threw bricks into my apartment, vandalized our houses, threatened our parents, and put us to detention centers up to 20 days. And I think it culminated with a criminal case against me in early March of 2018.
and in the end, you had to flee Russia because of this work. Did you ever think you or another member of the campaign might die because of the work that you were doing?
Well, we didn't think we would die, but at some point, quite early on the campaign trail, we kind of had to embrace and internalize the fact that the really high probability that the next day will be our last day as free people, and the possibility of a criminal case against me or my colleagues was just a matter of time. Lo and behold, it was initiated against me, the campaign manager, and I had to flee. But as far as my life is concerned, maybe when a brick was thrown into my apartment and when it landed approximately a couple inches away from my head, at that moment I thought that I was close to some kind of physical danger. But in general, we didn't believe local authorities wouldn't go that far, although everything is possible. There are numerous political prisoners right now, both from my region and the country, who are suffering in prisons all across the country.
You know, there was that famous documentary now about Alexei Navalny, and the first question to him was about his death, if that happened, and he kind of brushed off that question. There is shock today, but do you think that there is surprise that this day has come?
To be honest with you, surprise would be the first emotion that I felt, just kind of like a shock of it finally happening. Because, as I said, there's something about Alexei's aura that was just like a veneer of invincibility and sheer strength and willpower that I think a lot of people loved him for, and a lot of Putin's cronies were scared of. So everybody's surprised, everybody's shocked that it's finally happened. Everybody would ask, cynicists would ask routinely, oh, why is Alexei Navalny still alive if he's a true threat to Putin? And here we are, Alexei Navalny is dead, and we don't know what's next.
You have never known a Russia without Putin. Given today's news, can you envision a Russia with somebody else in power?
You see, for me, the Alexei Navalny's work and just his life was a way for me to stitch my former Russian identity and the potential future that I saw for myself and my close ones. And frankly speaking, I don't see a clear way out of the situation nearly to the extent that I, for some reason had in the back of my mind with Alexei Navalny being alive and whatever, posting uplifting stories on social media when he was in jail. Now he doesn't exist, and I don't know. It will take me time to see if some sort of concrete vision for a brighter future of Russia will coalesce. But for now, it's just an ocean of uncertainty.
It's a dark outlook. Egor, appreciate you coming on the program and sharing your views and perspective of the story tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Travis.
Egor Cherniuk, who is a former regional campaign manager for Alexei Navalny.